In 1803, the United States made one of the best deals in history. They bought the entire territory of Louisiana, which at that time covered over 2 million square kilometers, about 6 times the area of Germany, from France. The territory stretched from the Mississippi River in the east to the Rocky Mountains in the west, and from the Gulf of Mexico in the south to the Canadian border in the north, and today includes 15 U.S. states. In the process, it was one of the most favorable land sales in history, as Americans bought the vast territory for a mere $15 million. It also gave the Americans a huge strategic advantage, as it doubled the size of the state and laid the groundwork for expansion all the way to the Pacific coast. But why did the French sell this vast territory at such a bargain price? When colonization of North America began in the 17th century, the British settled primarily in the eastern coastal areas, whereas the French penetrated deeper into the country via the Mississippi Valley and established the first settlements there. Until the middle of the 18th century, the territory was constantly expanded, which is why France now possessed more territory of today's United States than any other European power. French rule lasted until 1762, when France lost the 7 Years' War, often referred to as the First World War, because it was fought on several continents. As a result of the peace negotiations, France had to cede its colony of Louisiana to Spain, and almost all the remaining territories on the North American continent were signed over to Great Britain. But this did not mean the end of the French in North America. As the French regained national self-confidence in the wake of the French Revolution, Napoleon's plan was to revive the French colonial empire in the New World. Thus, in 1800, Napoleon bought back the territory from Spain, which by then was an ally of France. France therefore prepared to send a large French army to New Orleans to secure the territory. But the situation in North America had changed in the meantime. As a result of the American War of Independence, the United States emerged as a new expansive power in the region, and it was very much opposed to Napoleon's fantasies of great power. Of particular importance was access to the Mississippi River, which offered important transportation and trade options, and also the strategically important port of New Orleans in the Mississippi estuary. The importance was underlined by Thomas Jefferson with the following words: "The day France takes possession of New Orleans, we must marry ourselves to the British fleet and nation." So it was immensely important for the Americans not to let the Louisiana territory fall into the hands of the French. If necessary, even by force of arms and support of the former colonial power. But first the diplomatic way should be taken, which is why Jefferson sent an envoy to Paris to negotiate a purchase of the territory. It suited the Americans very well that the French were planning a costly war in Europe and Napoleon urgently needed money for the planned invasion of Great Britain. In addition, the French simultaneously lost the colony of Haiti in the course of a slave revolution, and a naval blockade of France by the British caused them further economic difficulties. Thus, the American envoys were in a good negotiating position, and they were even surprised when France offered to buy the entire territory on its own initiative. Napoleon had obviously given up his adventures in the New World and now wanted to focus fully on Europe. Moreover, he was keen to prevent an alliance between the United States and Great Britain. Thus, negotiations proceeded rather quickly and both parties were able to agree on a sales price of $15 million, which corresponded to a land price of 1 cent for 1,000 square meters. Due to the distance between Paris and the USA, the contract was concluded without the approval of the US president. According to the Constitution, however, such a purchase would not have been possible at all, which is why a vote had to be held in the House of Representatives first. The purchase was not without controversy. Many members of the House preferred close relations with Great Britain to those with France, and many feared that the political influence of the founding states could be limited by the westward expansion. The purchase agreement was only narrowly approved by 59 to 57 votes, which is of course quite incomprehensible by today's standards. After all, the Louisiana Purchase is now considered the largest land deal in history, since the price of $15 million would be equivalent to only $250 million, even by today's standards. By comparison, Americans spent $800 billion on their military last year alone. Moreover, the United States as we know it today would not even exist without the purchase. The territory would probably never have grown to the West Coast, and there would probably have been several states on the territory of the USA, which would not have made it a world power.